Welcome back, everyone. We are so grateful to Cantu for being a partner and a sponsor of the 2020 Girls Leading Our World Summit. You'll see a few clips of some of their products, and we're actually having a giveaway at the end of today. They have sponsored 6 beauty bags to go out to some of you who are watching us today, and we're excited to be able to offer that to our participants. So thank you again to Cantu for being a sponsor of our event. So I'm going to stop talking for long because I'm ready to get into this next panel. Y'all, we have some more powerful women who will be sharing with you guys today. I'm so honored to welcome and introduce them. We're going to get the slide up on the screen to show you who they are, and I'm going to share a little bit about them. So first we've got Lainey Phillips, who is the Microsoft VP U.S. Channel Sales. She brings over 20 years of experience in inclusive leadership and transformation management in the technology industry as a recognized leader within Microsoft. She has had several leadership roles across Microsoft, including the Chief Transformation Officer for Microsoft's Enterprise Partner Group, where she led the largest global sales transformation in Microsoft's history. You've got Nicole Lynn, who is an NFL sports agent, full-time attorney, and practicing civil litigation and entertainment law. She made one of the biggest touchdowns of her career thus far, becoming the first female agent to represent a top NFL agency. She now works for Young Money APAA Sports Agency, which is owned by world-renowned rapper Lil Wayne. She also made history as the first Black female agent to represent a top 3 NFL draft pick. Renae Bluitt is a filmmaker and PR strategist who advocates for Black women's accurate representation in the media. You may recognize her from the film on Netflix, She Did That. She's the creator and executive producer of this film, which is streaming on Netflix. Through her roles as a filmmaker, digital content creator, brand consultant, she's driven in her commitment to lift others as she climbs. And then our moderator for this event, you guys, I have watched Mandela, known her, looked up to her. She is just fire, and I know she's going to keep the energy for you guys today. She went from being a 6th grade teacher in South Central Los Angeles to Silicon Valley founder and investor. She is the founder and CEO of Founder Gym, the leading online program training underrepresented founders on how to build successful businesses. You guys, she's worked with founders, over 400 founders spanning from 22 countries and 6 continents, and they've raised over $50 million to accelerate success. Mandela is just a sought-after speaker in tech, in life. She's a new mother. She has graced the stage of over 100 stages and across 100 publications. So I told you guys, it's a powerful group. And now I'll hand it off to Mandela, who's going to lead us in this panel, Standing on Their Shoulders, a celebration of Black women who lead. Thank you, Mandela, for being here and for moderating this panel today.
Oh, thank you so much, Carlisha. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you just fine. We are ready for you.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for creating this experience, this opportunity, and inviting me to be a part of it. I have been looking forward to this conversation all week long. I cannot tell you how enamored I've become with the 3 panelists that I get the opportunity and the privilege to interview right now, because their bios, which you all heard, probably inspired you, but they really inspired me as well. They all come from different walks of life and are at, trailing paths in different industries. And today we're going to have a really authentic, very important, incredibly grounded conversation about celebrating Black women who lead. And so the questions are going to range from their personal lived experiences. We're going to elevate some of the trends that maybe some of them have in common, but also some of the differences and their different approaches to how they've taken on success. But in general, I want everyone to walk away right now with a bunch of key lessons and learnings that you actually can apply like right after this session. So if you promise me that, I promise you this is going to be a conversation you're never going to forget. So with that said, I want to throw the first question over to Nicole. So Nicole, are you there?
Yeah. Hi.
Hello, hello. Happy Saturday. So the question for you is really about the fact that you are a first in many ways. You were the first female agent to represent a top NFL agency. You were also the first Black female agent to represent a top 3 NFL draft pick. And the question for you is, what advice do you have for women who are entering male-dominated career fields?
So my advice when I talk to any woman that's entering a male-dominated career field is to be true to you, and whatever that means. And so for me specifically, it's important for me to be feminine, right? I'm a girl's girl. I like to wear lipstick. I like to wear 5-inch heels. I like curls, but I work in the NFL and I work on the sideline of football games. And so when I first got into the business, my mentor gave me advice to just be one of the guys, to stick it, just to fit in. I think that was the worst advice I had ever received. I think it's really important to be comfortable with your feminism, if that's the route you want to take, so that the people that come behind you will be able to be comfortable with their feminism. And so I'm going to look like a woman everywhere I go, and I'm never going to feel uncomfortable about it. I used to struggle with, am I looking too pretty today? Is my lipstick too bright? Are my jeans too tight? It's okay to be beautiful, and it's okay to want to be beautiful. It's okay to to wear what you want and to feel comfortable, as long as you're always professional. And so if you want to be one of the guys, be one of the guys. But if you feel like feminism is important to you, and being a woman, embrace that, whatever that means for you. And so when you're in a male-dominated industry, just be who you are.
Oh, that's so powerful. And I think the thing that really struck a chord with me, Nicole, was, the undertone of authenticity. And when you are entering a space where you're the first or you're an only, and you may be in that position for a very long time before the next one comes, and hopefully you break down all sorts of ceilings and barriers, and we're just bringing in a flood of female power. But until that point, you are getting advice from people who maybe you look up to. So how did you actually have the strength to say, you know what, I'm going to take that. Thank you for your advice, but I'm actually not going to apply it? Was it easy for you? Because I think people get advice all the time. So how do you stand strong in your authenticity?
So originally it wasn't easy. Originally I took the advice, and I wore ball caps and tennis shoes, and I was one of the guys, but it wasn't natural. I am only my best self when I am comfortable and confident in my best self. And so it took me time. I want to be honest and vulnerable here. It took me time to get to the point where I stopped covering. I'm really passionate about the concept of covering. Covering is where you essentially hide something about yourself so you can fit in with the dominant culture. I do not cover. No matter where I am, I do not cover. So I work also at a law firm with mostly white men, and I still come in with weave or blonde hair one day, black hair the next day. I'm a Black girl to my core. And the reason why I do that is, again, to pave the way for the Black girls that come behind me. So they don't have to explain what weave is, right? So they don't have to explain anything about our culture. So I try my hardest. But in the beginning, yeah, I was covering, I was code switching. I was one of the guys. Not anymore, though.
That's so important for people to hear. So thank you so much for being vulnerable. And you said something, I wrote it down. I'm taking notes here. I hope you all are taking notes at home, because I'm here to learn as well. You said something, Nicole, I am only my best self when I'm my true self. And I cannot tell you how much learning that lesson in my career has meant to me. And there's this alignment that happens. Now, when you are your full self and you feel like you can be that way even in a workplace. So thank you for being an example of that to myself and to everybody tuning in right now. Awesome. All right. So we got more coming up for Nicole. Next up, I'm going to head on over to Lonnie Land. So listen, I told you about these bios. So I was digging deep, and Lonnie has a storied past in the sense of it's so deep in terms of her work and her level of leadership at one of the top companies in the world, Microsoft. And when I was digging into your background a little bit more, it looks like, Lonnie, you also have a Women Executive Channel Advisory Board composed of all female executives focused on creating more opportunities for women in the workplace and driving equity of share. And maybe if we're lucky, we'll get a leadership book coming out soon, right? I think that's coming. So right now, let's get a snippet into what may be in your book, which is, I want to talk about self-doubt. Okay. You seem like, this is my first time meeting you, but you appear very confident, very self-assured. Where in your career have you experienced self-doubt, and how have you overcome it?
Well, first of all, it's an incredible honor to be amongst this wonderful panelists. So thanks for having me today. And thanks for that question, because I will have to tell you, I still experience self-doubt today. That's me being totally vulnerable with you. But I will say that it has been one of those things that I've worked on over time. And I really had to own my superpower. And once I really owned my superpower and what my strengths were, I didn't feel the need to fit in with everyone in the boardroom and be like everyone around me. I had confidence in standing in my truth and leveraging my strengths to open doors and build connections and relationships. And my superpower is connecting with people.
Oh, beautiful. Is connecting with people something that you feel like is a foundational skill of leadership?
Absolutely, but I think there's a difference because there are some people who are really good at small talk, but I do think as a leader, it's important to be able to create environments where you have a level of curiosity, where you want to learn more about the people around you, to understand what their strengths are so that you can harness the strengths of everyone to work towards your goal. So part of that is you being willing to be vulnerable, to ask questions, admit what you don't know and how you have to lean on them for their strengths. But more importantly is really embracing the differences around you and how you can harness that strength to accomplish your collective goals.
Wow. So you're saying that your superpower is helping other people discover their superpowers, lean into those superpowers, right? For the collective mission. I love that. I love that. I love that. And just like Nicole, I really appreciate your vulnerability. And I want to ask you if there's something tactical you can give the young women who are tuning in from all over the world right now about when you really are in those dark places or those places where you question, am I ready for this? Can I do this? Maybe it's the book you're writing, right? Like, am I ready? Or whatever those voices of doubt come in, what is something tactical that you do to help yourself say, you know, be your cheerleader? You got this, or whatever it may be.
Yes, I think it's important to have people around you that speak life into you and encourage you. So that's one. I also lean on my faith and I listen to inspirational things to make sure that I have that dose of extra energy. I also practice self-talk, standing in the mirror and speaking positive affirmations. I am strong. I'm confident. I got this. And then I just, people say fake it till you make it. And I just continue to remind myself, you got this. Stand in your truth, stand in your authenticity, go in there, ask for what you want. You can make this happen. And it's so amazing to me when I stand in that truth and I practice it continually. I fool myself every time. I always get to the goal that I'm trying to get to. So I just continue to work on it over and over again. But it is something that you will continue to fight as you continue to climb to new levels and have new experiences. You will always have the self-doubt. But I always say, have a tribe of people around you that speak life into you, encourage you. You practice the self and positive affirmations for yourself so that you continue to pour good things in so you can continue to flourish.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And I think it's so important that everyone really sits with this, because even the level of success you've had in your career, you still have moments of self-doubt. And I think it's really important we talk about this because it normalizes it. So that when these young women are facing their first job where they may be the only woman or the only Black woman, and there may be doubt in their mind, that go in the mirror, have that self-talk with yourself. Surround yourself with people who speak life into you. So seriously, thank you so much, Lonnie. We got more coming for you. All right. So Renae, I just finished watching that beautiful documentary on Netflix. She did that. Yes. So thank you so much for your creativity, your vision, your leadership to make that happen, because I know the importance of having a wider view, a more accurate view of Black women in the media has been core to your mission all along. You have a blog, In Her Shoes. That's award-winning, trailblazing. So my question for you to kick this off today is about other people's expectations of you. Mm-hmm. Right? Because you literally are building a movement around not being confined to other people's boxes. Right. And so how have you managed other people's expectations of you? And then what's your advice for the young women listening today?
Okay. Well, again, thank you for having us. I'm already feeling full from this conversation, and we're just a few minutes in. And that's a really great question because I have dealt with other people's expectations of me since, I want to say, the first time I really felt it was in college. And I talk about it in the film. I come from a family of entrepreneurs. My father and my grandfather own funeral homes, and my grandfather has passed away, and it's been like our family legacy. And they just knew that I was going to graduate from college and go and study mortuary science. And I'm like, do I look like that's what I'm going to do? Like, it is literally, that is a ministry and a calling. And I just did not think that it was my ministry. And so I had to deal with that. And, you know, there was a little guilt surrounding not continuing the family legacy just because of the importance of Black-owned businesses in our community. And just knowing how that business, my grandfather's business, my dad's business, was able to provide for our family and the community at large. But I had to really be honest with myself. And as much as it would have been great to continue on that legacy, I knew that it was not my calling. And so that was one, you know, example of me doing what I need to do for my life and just understanding that this is my journey. And the beautiful thing, and I was just talking to my father about this, he was like, you know, you are continuing the family legacy of entrepreneurship. You know, you're just in a different lane. And so you're actually expanding the reach of what our family has done with the work that you're doing, you know, with She Did That and with In Her Shoes. But even beyond that, I continue to experience, you know, people's expectations of what I should be doing. I've been receiving a lot of love about the film, more positive feedback than anything. But I've had people come to me and say, why can't you be more inclusive? Why does this have to be just about Black women entrepreneurs? And I'm like, why not? You know, like, us celebrating our brilliance and the work that we do is not putting anyone else's contributions to the world or the business environment down. It is just celebrating the obstacles that we've been able to overcome. And there are quite a few, and the way that we've been able to shine. So those are just a couple examples. But I think that, you know, you take those things head on and you really have to be honest with yourself about looking at other people's expectations against what you want for your own life. Mm-hmm. When it's all said and done, this is your life. This is your journey. You have to wake up every day and feel good about what you're doing and what you're contributing to the world.
Yes, 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 yes. I don't know about Nicole. I don't know about Lonnie, but I feel like for me, I spent too many years of my life being a people pleaser. Mm-hmm. Where I was constantly trying to align myself with what other people expected of me so other people could like me. And the entire time I actually hated myself inside because I was wearing a mask, right? Yeah. And I was putting on this mask one day for this person and putting on another one. And I forgot. I didn't even know who I was, right? And that tension that you feel. So the fact that you did have the courage to break out first of your parents' perhaps original expectations of you. And then even every step of your journey, whether it was the blog, the film, and people's opinions, why not do this, do that? Like, I feel like as a leader and someone who walks in their purpose on purpose, you are constantly going to meet other people who will pour their expectations on you. Right. And so I think what I got from your message is it's your life. Absolutely. It's your journey. No one else is going to wake up every day and live it but you. So make sure you are doing it for you and things that really align to your happiness. Is that right?
That's it.
Oh, wow. And I'm going to push on you a little bit because the same way I did with Lonnie is that sometimes I even struggle with this right now in my career. And how do you remember to stay strong in your truth? Because a lot of people have opinions, even in the age of social media. When you post something, you think you're doing it from your heart and there's a critic coming in and just like, girl, what you doing? And so how do you actually handle this on a daily basis? Like, do you check in with yourself? Do you have self-talk like Lonnie said? What works for you?
Well, I go with my gut and what feels right, because sometimes people will come to you and suggest things, and they may be wonderful suggestions that you really do need to consider and explore. But sometimes they don't. And this the journey of entrepreneurship is so challenging for so many reasons. So if I am going to wake up every day and face these challenges, I really have to be doing what I love. And do what you love is my personal mantra. It's my first and only tattoo. And so I think about that all the time. Instead of looking at something in my home and saying, does it spark joy? When I think about taking on a project, partnering with an organization, or doing anything, it's like, do I love it? Because if I don't, I'm doing myself a disservice, and I'm doing the other, organization or brand or, person a disservice too. So that's my personal kind of barometer for if I'm going to lean in that direction or not. Like, do I love it?
That's super proud. Do I love it? That's something I think we all can do, right?
Yeah.
You could write that in your journal. You could put it on a sticky note on your mirror, on your computer. Get a little, they have all those custom phone screens you could put on, or put it on a phone screen or something. But I do think that having that check-in is very important. That place you can always go as a reminder of, is this what you love? And it doesn't mean to not take other people's advice or considerations, because what Lonnie was saying is there's genius in other people. So you don't want to miss out on that genius and just be like a one-person show. It takes people to make things great. But at the end of the day, this is your vision, and you have to make sure it's true to you. So beautiful. All right. So that was just a warm-up. So I was just getting everybody warmed up. All right. Now I'm going to throw questions out at these three phenomenal, powerful women. And I would like them all to take a moment to answer them. And so these questions are really built with the audience in mind, thinking about these are high school students. These are college students. Think back to where you were at that point in your life and what was keeping you up at night, what was top of mind for you. And we also aren't in a time in history that, this is brand new, what's going on in the world. So also bring that into this conversation. And so my first question, I'm actually going to start with Lonnie this time, is what has been the most significant barrier, obstacle, challenge of your career? And as much as you feel comfortable, give us the details of it and let us know for real how you got through it.
So, I've had so many challenges. I will tell you, if I had to sum up one, and then I'll give you a scenario where it really came into play. The biggest barrier I've had to overcome in corporate America and just in my life as an adult has been confidence. Because I've always been the only. And when you're the only and you're surrounded by white men, you sometimes lose yourself. You're trying to mirror what's in front of you. And I think Nicole and Renae pointed out some great things that you can do. But confidence has been the one thing that I've really battled. And I continue to confront it every single day. And I'm much better than I was earlier in my career. But when that came to life is when I was running a sales organization. I was brand new. I was the first woman of color to run the sales organization. And I was running into resistance from every side of the aisle. And we had a really big number we had to hit. And that first year I was in the role, I was so busy trying to fit in and get everyone to get comfortable with me that I really didn't make the changes as fast as I needed to help us get to our collective goal. But what I started to experience along the way is anytime you run a sales organization and you have a big number on your head, and at the time it was a little less than $1 billion, everybody wants to know, how are you contributing to the business this month and quarter? And when you come up short, you have to be willing to sit on the hot seat and answer some really tough questions in front of your peers. So for someone who continues to battle confidence, you can only imagine what that did to me over time. So what I did is I continued to do all the things I talked about earlier, went to my tribe around me, my squad, who encouraged me. I looked for inspiration, but I really had to dig deep because I recognized that I wasn't going to necessarily gain any additional confidence from the team and the leaders around me. I was going to have to do it for myself. And we didn't make our number that year, but I made a commitment to myself after we had that first year where we didn't make that number. That wasn't going to happen again on my watch. And the first thing I had to do was to stand in my truth. I had to recognize that I needed to lean into my superpowers and I needed to take control and lead from the front. And I brought them all together, really told them what the vision was for this team and what we were going to do. And I really started leveraging the people around me. And we not only, fast forward, were able to break records that year. We were #1 in the U.S. and we were the district that really crossed over $1 billion. And that wasn't just me, that was all of us. But that took confidence like nothing you've ever seen before, because I had to stand in my truth, know who I was, and bring them and carry all of them to our goal. And so I will just tell you, confidence is that one thing I continue to confront every single day, but I constantly look for ways to overcome the challenges.
Wow. Wow. Congratulations on that breakthrough, that transformation. Congratulations on carrying the weight of $1 billion, right? And all eyeballs on you being an only. I can't even imagine. I personally haven't had that lived experience, but I can feel the conviction of what you had been through and your will to pull yourself out of whatever that initial experience was into something greater. And look at the results. So congratulations. That's powerful, powerful. And Nicole, so when I was first introduced to you from Carlisha, when she asked me to be a part of this experience, and I was looking into you, so it introduced you as an NFL agent. But then I looked further, and it was like, wait, hold up. She was a financial analyst on Wall Street. She's a lawyer. Like, you are very multidimensional. And I'm curious as what your answer is going to be to what is the biggest barrier that you've experienced so far in your career, and how have you overcome it?
Oh, man. It's such a tough question, because it seems as, everyone on this call can probably relate. Being a woman of color, there are a lot of barriers to entry. Interesting enough, my age has been an extreme barrier of entry for me in the NFL. When I first recruited my very first client, I was 26 years old, and the client that I signed was 25. So already I'm coming in the room when only 1% of all NFL agents are women at the time, 1%, maybe a couple, just a handful are black women. So there's already that question mark. What is a woman doing in the room as a sports agent? And then, oh, hey, I'm 26. Like, we could be friends. Like, we probably went to school together. And, right now I'm 31 and I have a player that's 30. And so I still am in the locker room. That's what I say. I'm not aged out of the locker room. And so I've definitely dealt with the barrier of my age, my sex, my gender. The way that I have overcome that is just by being excellent. So one of my mentors always told me that excellence is your greatest currency, right? Excellence is your greatest currency. So no matter what you look like, no matter what age you are, right? No matter anything that you may think is a barrier, if you are excellent at everything you do. And so, as many people probably on this call, I outworked my peers. I outworked the people that were above me, the people that were below me, and I made sure that every single thing I did was above and beyond what was required. And so I would just say generally, the barrier has been more than one, but I'm really excited to continue kicking down those doors and fighting and kicking and crawling, no matter what that looks like.
Wow. Wow. And thank you so much also for revealing where you are in your life journey, because it helps people have perspective of what is possible, right? At a very young age. That you said you were, 26 or 25?
26. And the first player I signed was 25.
Wow.
And so I'm telling this player, hey, I'm going to negotiate your contract. I'm going to manage your life. I'm going to make sure you don't go broke. I'm going to work with the team on your behalf. Oh, and also I could be your big sis, right? I mean, that's the way he's looking at me. Like, I could be your big sis. I could be someone that he dated. We're the same age. And so it was definitely a tough conversation in convincing people that age did not matter. Gender did not matter, right? Race did not matter. So, and I still deal with that today.
Wow. That's huge, because the young women on this call have big ambitions. They wouldn't be here if they didn't. Yeah. Right? And so for you to say that it doesn't matter what age you are, that you don't have to shrink your dreams, right, to fit into other people's expectations. So thank you for being a living example of that. Woo! I hope there's an after show for this. I hope we stay on so I can keep the interview. You all are incredibly inspiring. So Renae, you know you're up next.
Yes.
And I would love to hear from you. What is the biggest challenge of your career so far, and how did you overcome it?
Sorry, my dog has decided to make some.
That's all right. Dogs are welcome. This is an inclusive space. My 9-month-old might just fall out here in a second.
Talking to the dog down the hall. So, as I was listening to the other ladies' responses, I, like, you know, any woman who is a Black female entrepreneur in this world, a lot of the obstacles that we face mirror each other, from lack of financing to, you know, not having a seat at this magical table. But today I want to actually focus on a barrier that I've had that has been more personal, like getting in my own way. And so as a Virgo, you know, when you're creating something, you have this grand vision for how it's going to be executed, you know, timing and everything. And I will say that, you know, out of everything I've done in my career, producing this documentary was one of the most challenging things I've ever done. And one thing that I say is that I learned, it was my first film, I learned more about life experiences and life lessons than actually filmmaking. I mean, obviously I was put through the fire and learned a lot about filmmaking, but I learned a lot of life experiences and life lessons. And one of those was something that I believe got in my way throughout different chapters of my career, which is wanting things to be perfect. And so with this film, I really had to let go of the idea of perfect and understand that done is better than perfect, and also understand that everything that we're doing is a work in progress. You know, like sometimes you can literally be holding back something that the world needs because you're trying so hard to perfect it. And so that has been one of my barriers. I have been one of my biggest barriers, you know, just trying to make things be a certain way. And so this film really pushed me to understand that, you know, sometimes when you think things are falling apart, they're really coming together. And the plans that God may have for you and your vision and the things that you're doing are so much bigger than your ideas. And I learned that every single step of the way with this project. And it's something that I try to apply every single day. Done is better than perfect. Perfection does not exist.
Mm. I know we all like, yes. And I think oh, wow. So much of what you just said right now, I have, because on one sense, right, if you think about what you originally said, you said, do I love it? Is this aligned with my truth, my passions, no matter what anybody else says, no matter what their expectations are? But then also, when is good enough? Like, how do I not get so caught up in being my greatest self in every single thing that I do that it prevents me from ever doing anything?
Right.
I oftentimes say, you know, analysis paralysis is one of the biggest dream killers. And analysis paralysis is like when your mind is going at 100 miles an hour, but your feet aren't going anywhere. Right? You're not doing any. You're just overthinking it. And when you said the Virgo piece, you really got me, because Beyonce's a Virgo, Michael Jackson's a Virgo, Lonnie's a Virgo, y'all, and my little sister's a Virgo. Virgo is something else. I know that level of perfection.
Yes. It's a blessing and a curse. I think that Virgos have a certain sense of pride, and, you know, there's Black excellence, and then I say there's Virgo excellence. And but sometimes it's a lot of work. Like, I'll stop myself and be like, girl, no one's paying attention to that small detail. Keep it moving. Keep it moving.
Yes. Oh, such good advice. So yeah, like, wow. Yes, such good advice. And you said something, you said your perfection could be holding you back from just putting out what the world needs, right? Yes. Put it out there. You don't know, right? And trust in God, faith, whatever your source is, right? Trust in that. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so I am also queuing up some audience questions. So for those of you who are tuning in, be sure to continue putting in your questions in the chat, shouting out the guests. I know we're going to make sure we get them that information, but I have a couple of more questions I want to get through before we transition to the questions from the young women tuning in from all over the world. And this one, I want you all to be short and punchy, but man, do I want you to flex right now. And in my company at Founder Gym, right, we at gym, so we out here flexing all day, showing off our guns. And obviously I mean this in a metaphorical sense, but I want you to quickly for us, but proudly own your greatness. Tell us about your greatest accomplishment today. And it may not be something in your bio. It doesn't matter, but what do you feel like is your greatest accomplishment to date, starting with Nicole?
My greatest accomplishment to date was last year I signed the #1 player in college football, which was a really big deal. And I'm just, a little bit of this.
Okay, that's how you know it's serious. Congratulations, the #1 college pick. Wow, huge. All right, Renae, what about you?
I'm going to have to say she did that. My greatest accomplishment so far, because I know there will be many more after this, was producing the very first documentary that looks at entrepreneurship from the Black woman's lens. There are plenty of other documentaries out there, but there is no other one that is solely committed to the Black woman entrepreneur's journey. And I'm proud to say that I created that. I did that.
Yes. And the documentary is called She Did That, right? Because I was watching on Netflix.
Yes, she did that. It's on Netflix right now through the middle of 2021.
Oh, so make sure you tune in.
Check it out.
Awesome. All right, Lonnie, come on, flex for us.
So for me, in the last, I guess it's been about 18 months now, but I became a partner at Microsoft, and that was a huge deal. So that is something I'm extremely proud of to date, and it's a very few of us, so I really see it as an enormous accomplishment, but also a responsibility to give back more.
Awesome.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Oh my goodness. Congratulations. Yes. So if you all aren't yet inspired, I don't know what else to give you, because these women are literally Black girl magic in action. I am most proud of the fact that I'm a proud mom CEO. That I'm running my company unapologetically with my baby latched on, do whatever I need to do to get it done. So that is my flex that I'm very proud of. And so it is really important, though, that we model this, because so much of the society, I think, it's particularly with women, makes us feel like we have to be smaller. We can't be intimidating. We can't talk about how great we actually are. And so one of the things I specifically do in the program that I teach people is confidence, and be unapologetic about it, because that confidence is attractive. And it will attract all sorts of opportunities and team members and greatness into your life. So thank you all for modeling that right now for these young women. And as we talk about young women, listen, we all are at different points in our life, right? Not everybody needs to disclose, but we're all at different points in our journey. And the next generation, they're up next. They're up next. So why are you excited about the next generation? Think about the time we're living in. Think about the technology that we have these days. You could whip up a company tonight, right? Think about what maybe they have exposure to that even we didn't when we were young in college or high school. So what excites you most, Lonnie, about the future generation?
What excites me most about the future generation is they're so fearless. We actually looked at how our parents were successful, and we looked at other people and evaluated success. And when we looked at them, we were like, okay, that's what I aspire to, right? Now they don't care if they see anyone doing it. They have all of these wonderful dreams of what they want to accomplish. And that comes with a fair amount of confidence as well. And that's what I'm excited about, because I think they will challenge status quo. I think they will demand change. I think they will enter into new boardrooms that we haven't been in before. I think we're going to see more women-owned companies and CEOs than we see today. And I am so encouraged by that. And I just hope that I get to witness that in my lifetime. But I am so excited about them because they're so fearless, and I don't want to see them change that. I wish I had that cape of fearlessness when I was younger, because I just think I would have gone so much further.
Wow, that's powerful. I totally agree with you. I don't know if it is the affirmation they give each other on social media, right? That we didn't have, like, yeah, tell them, okay, you look good, da, 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 da. Like, where that comes from. But I couldn't agree with you more, Lonnie. The cape of fearlessness and the courage, the way they speak out, they act out. Beautiful, beautiful. And Lonnie, you're saying so many important things. I want to make sure we capture it. The sound is a little bit scratchy, so if you can just check your sound for the next question. I just want to let you know, okay? All right, Renae, why are you excited about who's up next?
I'm excited about the next generation simply because the access that they have empowers them. You know, when I'm scrolling through social media, I'm so just proud of some of the conversations they're willing to face out loud. You know, they're talking publicly about everything from, you know, building generational wealth to making sure that you're well. You know, they're talking about things like the importance of therapy, you know, and things like that, that were taboo subjects when I was coming up, when my parents was coming up. They're very transparent about having money conversations with each other. You know, there's no more like being secret about your salary or what rate you were able to negotiate. And so once we start making that type of information available in our community, we're just empowering each other and just making sure that we're all equipped with the tools that we need to succeed. And so that's what I'm really proud of and most excited for, because I know that that transparency, that sharing, that that realization that success is bigger than financial success, that you need to be feeling good up here too, that is going to really pave the way for a powerful future in our community. So I'm excited to see what the next generation creates and innovates and just inspires, you know?
Oh, yes, I do know. I absolutely know. And like Lonnie was talking about the fearlessness of this generation. And I think what I hear from you is also the diversity of fearlessness, the diversity of thought out there, talking about wellness, talking about financial literacy, talking about whatever it is that is your passion. So I totally agree. And I love that. Nicole, what about you? What excites you about the next generation?
There's so many things that excite me, but I think number one is their innovation and also just the fact that they're changing the status quo. So they're not going to allow anything to look like normal, right? When I was growing up and I had to envision what a lawyer looked like, you know, there was the stereotype that popped up in my head, right? This white male with a briefcase. This new generation is not going to allow those stereotypes to live because they're going to come in the workplace and they're going to shake it up, right? So even me being an agent, there's going to be so many more agents that look like me, and this is going to become the norm. Attorneys, police officers, firefighters, you know, neurosurgeons, they're going to look different. And the way that we continue doing business is going to look different with this new generation. You know, social media is a huge tool, you know, as far as the way we market. So normally you'll see billboards or commercials. I think this new generation is going to take us into a different way that we market companies, that we market services, the way we provide the services. You know, they're just so innovative. So I'm excited. I want to be a part of it.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. And you said something about like normalizing that literally it's not going to be as abnormal to see a Black woman in her early 30s as an NFL agent. It's not going to be abnormal to see Renae leading a media, right, empire of diverse and accurate representation, right? It's not going to be abnormal to see Lonnie be a partner at one of the biggest companies in the world, managing Billy budgets. I mean, it's not going to be abnormal. That's so, I literally just got chills thinking about that, because when we were growing up, it was very abnormal. And the fact that people can utilize a platform right now, like this Microsoft platform, tune in to even know that you exist. Even just to see that you exist, you're really real, and that you're not that different from them, right? And I think that is so important. And I know, Renae, it resonates really big with you because you're all about representation, so you understand. All right. Next question, and one of my final questions before we open it up to audience Q&A is really go back to you being maybe a high school senior or a freshman in college. And what do you wish you would have said to yourself then? Right? Like, what do you wish you could just whisper back to your old self so that maybe you would have knew this earlier? Lonnie, what is it for you?
So can you hear me okay?
Yes, it's great.
So can I have two things?
Of course, yes.
Okay, two things. Rejection is protection. I used to take rejection as that thing I had to continue to overcome. Oh, I got to make sure I win them over. No. Rejection is protection. Sometimes those are doors you do not need to go through. Learn from other people. That would be something that I would go back and tell my younger self. The other thing I would tell my younger self is to take more risks. I think I played it safe too long. I think I needed to just take on new challenges and don't feel like I have to have all the answers right out the gate. I also suffer from being that Virgo who likes to be a perfectionist and holding on way too long. I just wish I had just taken more risks, put myself out there, whether I was going to be successful at it or whether I was going to fail at it. I always say fail forward because you can learn from your mistakes and then you can try again and then you can be much more successful. So that's what I would share.
I'm so glad you got your audio back together because did we need to hear that? Thank you for gifting us with that message. Renae, what about you? What would you whisper to your younger self?
I would yell to my younger self to trust the process. You know, even when things are not going the way we planned or anticipated, understand that everything happens in divine right order. So trust the process and enjoy the journey. I spent a lot of time looking forward to the next thing. When I was in high school, I couldn't wait to get to college. When I was in college, I couldn't wait to start working. You know, when I was working, I couldn't wait to, you know, be elevated on this corporate ladder. And, you know, even with the film, when we were filming, I couldn't wait to get to editing. And it's like, stop and enjoy this moment because this is the only moment that you have. You know, even here, I'm taking in all the jewels and the gems that you women are sharing. And I'm like, I do have a million things I need to do later today. And I caught myself thinking about my to-do list I was like, stop. Like I had my laptop out. Stop. Be in this moment because you don't know what blessings are coming out of this moment and what you need to really take in that's going to help you moving forward. So trust the process and enjoy the journey.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Maybe some more tattoo inspiration in those messages. I'm writing these down. That's really powerful. Thank you. And thank you so much for checking in on yourself and being present. I think we all struggle with that. So Thank you. Because now you're around me. Yes, and they'll just be here. So be here. My phone's blown up. Be here. Right. All right. Nicole, what about you?
Well, my first gut said that boy is not your husband, but we'll go. We'll go to something else. But that, if I could tell my 16-year-old self, that would be number one. Okay, your husband's coming, it ain't him. But the two things I would really hone in on are your dreams aren't too big. You know, I knew from a very young age that this is what I wanted to do. I didn't always know the title of it, but I knew I wanted to represent athletes. I knew I wanted to work in entertainment. I told every person that would listen, you know, everybody that I grew up with or went to school with, they knew I wanted to do this since I was a kid. And it was, I always say, it was kind of like telling people I wanted to be a rapper. And it was very much where they would kind of be dismissive about it. So I'd love to go back and, you know, remind myself at that point, be confident. Your dreams are not too big. You're going to make it. And then the second point would be with or without resources, you will get there. I did not have a lot of resources. Anyone that knows my story knows that I grew up in really tough situations, homeless, living in cars, didn't really have much. And it's really hard to envision yourself getting to this point when you're 16 years old and don't know what you're going to eat. So even if you do not have the resources, God can still meet you there and find a way. And so, with or without the resources, Nicole, 16-year-old Nicole, it's going to work out. It's going to work out.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing us your diary entries to your younger self. We're all going to benefit no matter what age we are tuning into this.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful segue into audience Q&A. So I have been receiving some of the most beautiful questions from women around the world who want to ask things of you. And I've been looking through them and really trying to make sure I cover as much as possible. So I'm going to ask everybody, keep that in mind when you are answering these questions. And if you feel like somebody else may have said something that you would have said, we can just get on to the next question, okay? Because I want to try to get in as many as possible. So the first question came up is related to what Lonnie said at the beginning of this interview, a superpower. How do I find my superpower? Lonnie, do you want to address that one?
Yeah, so your superpower is that one thing you get compliments on all the time. Mm-hmm. It's when you operate in it, you feel like it's not a struggle. It just comes natural for you. For me, it was talking to people. I never got tired of that. I love understanding their strengths, where they came from. And I noticed people responded to that, and I got a lot of feedback on that. So that would be the thing. It's that one thing that comes so natural for you that you don't feel like you have to work really hard at it. And you would do it. I always tell people, it's that one thing you do, and you probably would say, I don't care if I even get paid for it. I'm going to do it. That's that superpower that you've got to really capitalize on. And I tell people, spend less time on your weaknesses and more time on your strengths, because that is what's going to separate you from the pack.
So powerful. What people are complimenting you on, maybe your superpower, what comes naturally and you lose track of time and you would do it for free. Maybe your superpower, what brings you joy and lights you up. I oftentimes even think about the energy exchange. Yeah. What is draining my energy versus what is like lighting me up? Like this activity right now is lighting me up. I'm like a little light bulb. You can't see it, but I am inside because this brings me joy, having conversations with brilliant people who are in authentic engagement with each other. So thank you so much. And Renae or Nicole, is there anything that you want to also call out about superpowers and how to figure out what yours are?
I think she nailed
it. All right, we're going to keep it pushing. So this question's for Nicole, which is mentorship. So a lot of these young women are trying to be where we are in our careers or beyond where we are. Wow, wouldn't that be something? And I think another thing Lonnie said at the beginning was the importance of finding your tribe of people who really speak life into you. So for people who may not be at the level of a mentor, like how do they get in front of people? How do they build a mentorship relationship?
So I get a lot of requests for a mentor relationship, many emails every week, phone calls asking, hey, can you mentor me? And I would love to be able to mentor every single young woman that wants to get into the business. But obviously it's something that's really difficult, right? Because you have to protect your own time. One of the things I recommend is if you're trying to get in front of someone, offer coffee. Dinner and lunch are too long, right? Just like these are just short tips. You'll get someone will say, can I take you to dinner? I'd love to get to know more about you. Too long. Lunch, too long. Coffee's great. Offer phone calls and put limits on the time. I'd love 10 minutes of your time. I promise I'll only take 10 minutes of your time. So protect people's time. Make it easy for the person. The other thing is, if you know someone's going to be there, so I'll talk specifically about myself. I know she's going to be at the Cincinnati Bengals game. You know that. I put it on social media. Hey, I'll meet you at the concession stand. Would love to just take 5 minutes to introduce myself. That's what I did, right? Get creative about getting in front of the person and make it where it's not inconvenient for them at all, right? Because they've got a lot going on, and every woman on this call, has a very, very busy schedule. Once you do get that face-to-face, continue to follow up. Consistency and persistence is key. And then I keep remembering, isn't this the same girl that's in my DMs like every week? Okay, let me respond. So just kind of find creative ways to get in front of someone.
Oh, I love that. Success also is in the follow through. That was a major key. I hope you all were paying attention. Anything anyone wants to add to the mentorship conversation?
One thing I would add to the whole mentorship request, and this could be a personal thing, for me it feels a little presumptuous or awkward to say, can you be my mentor? Like, I would focus on, the coffee date that she mentioned and establishing a relationship, and a relationship that is not one-sided. If you're going to reach out to someone, especially someone with a really busy schedule, maybe think about what you can bring to the table or conversation that can make their life a little bit easier. I think that when you're in the public eye and when you're at a certain place in your career, more times than not, you have people reaching out to you with their hands out. But how awesome would it be if you reached out extending something to this person that is always giving and pouring into other people? I think that would separate you from the millions of other DMs that, women like us would receive. And then on the topic of DMs, just because DMs have so many other conversations happening, personal memes and all this stuff, find a real email address. I know that we live in a very, quick exchange world with social media, but send a real professional email as opposed to sliding in someone's DMs. And if you have to slide in their DMs, reach out there quickly and ask them for, if they're okay with sharing their personal email address, because those requests in DMs, for me, they get lost in the clutter of everything else that's happening.
Yeah.
Yes. Lonnie, go ahead.
I love everything you've said, ladies. The one thing I would say I really like among the ladies who ask for the mentoring request is tell me what questions you have before the meeting, so that I have time to reflect over my response to it. So when we get into that first conversation, I can get straight to the point without having to reflect back. And I always tell people, instead of asking someone to be your mentor, just ask for a quick coaching session. You could do that over coffee. You can do that in a very small spurt of time, because we all have a lot of requests. But at least be prepared and allow them to get prepared prior to the conversation.
Yeah, for sure. This is definitely an area of passion of mine, of educating people on. So I co-sign every single one of your pieces of advice. And I'll just add one of my own, which is right now I'm in my home, and it's imagining the experience going from email DM to like a physical experience where it's like you're knocking on my door right now, and I'm in the middle of hosting a session, and after this maybe I have a set of meetings and I need to feed my daughter and then I need to walk my dogs, right? So it's like you're interjecting yourself into someone else's life and everything that they already have planned, like a knock on my door. And it's like, hey, can you be my mentor? And then another knock and another knock. So it's important for you to put yourself in the other person's shoes. And I think the thread of what Nicole, Renae, and Lonnie are saying is try to be mindful of how you are making the ask, how much time you're taking, and how the degree of which you're prepared, right? Because it'll be respectful. Then maybe if you're at my door and you're like, hey, can you just do this real quick? And I'm like, okay, sure. Thanks for making that easy for me. Then I can get back to everything else I had planned. Okay. Awesome. This is a big one because we know the young women on this call are very ambitious. They're hungry for opportunities. And so I feel like it's very important for us to have just touched a little deeper on that. Okay. Next question. I'm going to throw this one to begin with Renae, because I got an inkling that this is a passion of hers. It says, thank you, ladies, for your time and wisdom. How do you restart, refresh, and keep yourself in good health to be able to continue to do the work you all do to the absolutely best of your ability? So, Renae?
That's what I'm saying. This is why I'm so inspired by this next generation, because when I was younger, I was just going. I was team no sleep, barely eating because I was just, doing the work. And so I love that that's even top of mind right now. One thing that I do and that has been really helpful for me during this time that we're in the world is totally disconnecting. I think we all have the habit, especially if you're running a business or if you're managing a team, it's so easy to wake up and go immediately to your phone, to email, to social media to see what's happening. I have a book of affirmations that I keep on my bedside, and I really try to make that the first thing that I do in the morning. It really sets the tone for the day and kind of helps me to be centered before I start giving to the world. And just doing that changes the way that my day unfolds just consistently. But then also, when you feel exhausted, and now, the news cycle is heavy, and there's a lot going on. There are a lot of things happening that could make us feel hopeless or a little defeated. Take a break from all of that. If you have to take Instagram off of your phone, it is okay. It will be there tomorrow or the next day. And these are things that I personally do to, keep myself inspired. Through quarantine, I have a dog, as you heard. She has been a blessing because she has given me that reason to go outside 3 times a day, to walk around the neighborhood, to get fresh air. So even if you don't have a dog, during this time of social distancing and quarantine, just make sure you're getting out and getting some vitamin D and just moving, because that is going to be what gives you that extra fuel to do whatever it is you're doing and to really contribute to the world.
Oh, powerful, powerful. All of that. Yes. Anybody else want to add anything? Nicole or Lonnie?
I am just awful with self-care. It's just being very transparent. It is my biggest hurdle in life. My husband has to tell me all the time, there's no award for being the busiest person, right? And I really have to get myself out of this thought of, I am busy, which makes me a better person, or the busiest person is the hardest worker or the best at what they do. I've learned that being busy is a part of my identity, and I don't like it. I don't like it. It's a part of man, Nicole's always working. Oh man, I've always got something to do. And so I'm really trying to transition out of that mindset, because it's not healthy and it's what I'm showing the world. So I don't have a lot of tips. I'm so excited to be on this call so I could listen, because I am just awful with it. But 2020, we're going to change it.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much for being real. Thank you for not feigning mastery of this area right now, because I'll speak my piece, but Lonnie, go ahead. But I just want to thank you for being honest.
Yes.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Lonnie.
So I'm in the middle. I will tell you that I have had some good days and I've had some not so good days. So what I would only add to what Renae said, because I'm going to start doing what Renae said, is put it on the calendar. So I'm one of those executives where I have people who plan my days and weeks. And I think it's important that you have an accountability partner. I have an accountability partner. Her name is Ashley. Ashley always reminds me, hey, let's get you started a little bit later this morning so you can make time for the family or make time to exercise or something. She'll put on there lunch, go eat. End your day early. So you might want to squeeze in some family time or go exercise. So I do think that would be the only thing I would add, is for those of us that are driven by our calendars, to schedule time for yourself and that self-care. There are some things that are non-negotiable in my life, like on Fridays when I get my hair done. It's funny how when it's time for me to go to the salon, I will say no to everything, because that's my time.
Yeah.
So I will tell you, whatever that is for you, just schedule it in and make it a priority for yourself, because you have to put self-care first. And I am so proud to hear that you guys are even asking the question, because it has been something that I have not practiced well. I'm not a good leader in that area, but I'm working on it.
Yeah. And again, it's so important that you hear our own struggles. We are not perfect. We are still figuring it out. And I think I'll speak for myself, even with social media, what I find that I still come up against is I may think I'm doing the thing. I'm doing it. And then I pop over on social media and I see them doing it. I'm like, dang, I ain't doing enough. I'm not doing enough. And so social media also can constantly be a barrage of FOMO, fear of missing out on what you're supposed to be doing and what other people are doing. So one thing that's worked for me is checking in with myself and defining success for myself and what that looks like for me. Right. And one of the books I'll just throw out there that was life-changing for me, and Nicole, I strongly recommend you read it if you haven't already. Yeah. It's called Essentialism. And it is one of the most transforming books that I've read. It helped me get clear as to what actually matters and what doesn't. And just being clear on that helps everything kind of fall away. And that literally changed my life. So I recommend that to the panelists as well as to the listeners. And we're running up against 5 more minutes. Oh, where does the time go? So I want to have integrity and make sure that we end on time so that Carlisha and her wonderful team can make sure they get to the next section of this event. A question that I'm going to throw out there that please keep in mind the time as you answer this is, again, along the vein of balance and balancing your work with yourself, but also other important relationships. So how do you manage being a leader in your home and being a leader in the workplace? Is there anything that's worked for you? Do you have the same techniques that you bring into both, or you treat those two things very differently?
Well, I could go first on that. So I am married, and I am a mom of an 11-year-old boy. And I will tell you that I negotiate success with my husband. So we negotiate kind of what the priorities are for a given day, week, month, quarter, and year. And I always tell people one of the reasons why I said yes to my husband and to marry him is because he is one of my biggest fans in terms of pursuing my career goals. But when I go home, he lets me be an absolute baby. And he carries me. And so that's how I'm able to do what I do. But I recognize that when he's having a bad day, he needs my strength. But we negotiate success together for our family, as well as what decisions we want to make professionally, because I have moved a lot and he's followed me. But it was always something that we talked about up front, because I tell people when you have 2 career homes, only one career can lead at a time. Especially when you have kids involved. So that is something that has really made a difference for me.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I just learned a lot in that. I'm about to have a life meeting with my husband right after this. Thank you. Renae, anything that you want to talk about how you balance being a leader in personal life as well as business?
So I'll be honest with you. I have a different situation from Nicole and Lonnie in that I am a single woman with a dog. And so my dog is my biggest responsibility right now, but I'm open to, I would love to have a partner to, balance this out with and have that person that, I'm strong in the world. I can come home and I can be a baby. I want that. So I'm using this as an opportunity to put that out into the universe. I would love for the universe to hear that. And then I'll be reaching out to Nicole and Lonnie about how to balance career with a husband. But right now, I'll be honest, my life and like everything I do when I wake up is centered around what I want to do. And I know it's a very selfish existence, but it is what it is right now. When my dog needs to go out, we go out. But other than that, it's what I want to do. But again, hopefully the universe is listening and we will, next time we talk, there'll be a husband in the occasion.
Yes. And thank you for speaking what you want, because I think a lot of people want that. Yeah. And sometimes I feel like even for myself, I never anticipated getting married. Mm-hmm. I was always focused on my career. I never anticipated becoming a mother. I was always focused on my career. And so I think it's really important to also say what you want, right? Holistically for your life, because I think a lot of people assume you can't have both.
Right.
So thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that. Seriously, thank you.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, real quick.
Go.
I think it's normal for us to talk about career goals and aspirations, but we're more than our careers. Nicole mentioned, like, we're more than being busy in the glorification of that. There are so many other aspects of our lives. So it's okay to say that out loud and to put it into the world and see what happens.
Love it. Love it. Nicole, anything you want to add to this?
I'm awful with the balance. There we are, awful. The only advice I can give you, someone very successful gave me advice when they were asked, how did they get to where they were? They said, marry the right person, marry the right person, like someone that can deal with it. For me, I travel 100 days a year and I'm hanging out with millionaire black men all the time, right? Wow. Every man couldn't deal with that. Every man couldn't put up with that. So I married the right person that's flexible and that meets me halfway. But as far as the balance, child, I don't got it. We're working on it.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, wow. Wow. I don't think this is talked about enough. I really don't. I feel like this could be a whole other panel about the tribe that you need to have around you so that you can be great in your career. Like, see, hands down, everything you just said. So we are at the end of the conversation, and wow, did I walk away with so many learnings and so much affirmation and confidence. But I want to know, of all the things that you three fantastic, powerful women shared today, what is the final thing that you want the audience to walk away with? So I'll give you a moment to think.
I can go first.
Go ahead.
If you're not walking in your purpose, you're working and living to die. If you're not walking in your purpose, you're working and living to die. There is nothing more important, there is nothing more powerful, more fulfilling than being in your purpose. And so no matter what that looks like, I challenge you to chase purpose. Whether that means abruptly leaving your job, whether that means keeping your job and having a side hustle, that can be your purpose. But just remember that we are only on this earth for so long. And when I heard that, it shook me to my core. And that's when I left Wall Street and became an agent. So.
Thank you, Nicole. Renae?
So I'll just piggyback on what Nicole said. So if you're walking in your purpose, I want to remind us, especially as Black women and Black young girls, take up space. You know, I think that we get into certain rooms and we shrink a little bit for whatever reason. You know, there are a myriad of reasons why we may shrink, but I don't want us to do that anymore. And I think this next generation is going to show us what it looks like to truly take up space in this world.
And to build upon what these beautiful women have said, I would say you were uniquely designed to be here in this moment. Stand in your truth. Don't dim your life for anybody.
Amen.
Don't dim your life for anybody. And I would just say, you got this.
Yes.
You got it. Just take it. Own it. Stand in your truth and go. You got this, girl.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Lonnie, Renae, Nicole. This was a true honor and a privilege to be in conversation with you today. My cup runneth over, and I can't wait to pour out all day long. Seriously, thank you. And thank you so much to Carlisha and your team for putting this wonderful event together and creating space for us to have authentic conversations about why we should continue to celebrate Black women leaders all over the world. So thank you again. And I think I'm supposed to hand it back over to Carlisha. So I'll wait for her to come on.
Hi, it's actually me, Ashley Small again. Thank you,
Mandela.
Hey,
Ashley.
Hey, thank you again, Mandela. That was so inspiring and empowering. I could have sat on here and listened to you all for hours. I appreciate the fact that you all are continuing to prove that Black girls, Black women are not monolithic. We look many different ways. We follow many different paths. I know for me, it's very important because it wasn't until I was about 12 that I started, like Carlisha mentioned earlier, growing up and going to predominantly white schools. You don't get to see examples of Black excellence, Black girl magic. And so I'm so grateful for you all being here and using your platforms to share authentically. Renae, thank you, because you are being such a responsible communication professional by telling stories that change the narrative, telling stories that show that we are varied and that, we don't fit into one box. So thank you for that, ladies. So as you know, Women Empowering Nations works with young women both here in the U.S. and the continent in Africa. I'm so excited about the next video because one of the young ladies who's featured was actually my mentee when we did our summit in both Tanzania and in Ghana. And she's a young lady going off to college now, and I'm trying not to get emotional, but I'm so proud of her. Our last video shared the reflections of two young women, Andrea and Bita. We get to see where they are today and the power of their experiences in lighting a path to be the change in their own communities. Let's watch the video.
Hello everybody, my name is Andrea Bob. I'm 18 years old and I've been a part of Women Empowering Nations since 2016. Since then, I've traveled to Tanzania and Ghana to participate in the Girls Leading Our World Conference. When I watch my younger self and Wynn's documentary, I'm still in shock. My most memorable experience from Tanzania was staying at the JBFC organization. We were paired with two girls, one that we would go to school with daily and then one that we read to or read with for an hour. hour later in the day. In Ghana, we visited a slave castle, and we wore a shirt that said, "I am my ancestors' wildest dreams." And I didn't really understand it until we actually went inside of the slave castle.
We call this place a room of no return. When this evil trade started, they narrowed the exit to what you can see for nobody to escape, one person at a time. In the end, they made up their minds to go through the shame, the pain, the degradation, so they could tell the story.
So I actually had to step out for a second because it was really overwhelming. We saw where they were kept, where they were killed. It was very overwhelming. And one thing I didn't appreciate then that I appreciate now, I am my ancestors' wildest dreams. And that's something that I didn't really understand or appreciate then. In 2016, I was very shy. I was scared to open up. I was scared to get out of my comfort zone. However, in 2018, I noticed that I was the one stepping out of my comfort zone to make all of the other girls feel more comfortable. Now, I live in Houston, Texas. I am a 2020 graduate, and in a few weeks, I will be attending Southern University, and I'll be majoring in music education and minoring in visual arts. And I'm still in contact with Women Empowering Nations, and I will continue to stay involved with this organization for as long as I can. Thank you.
I am Binta Mohammed Salah, a fourth-year law student at the University of the Gambia. Currently, I am volunteering with a lot of youth organizations with key focus on human rights education, gender and inclusion activities. I've always been this insecure child. I was born a stammerer, so I found it really hard to take up a place in the world. A Women Empowering Nation actually helped me to fight that inner battle. Maybe they didn't realize this, but this was a turning point for me, and I am glad they did. My most memorable experience working with the Women Empowering Nation. I can vividly remember every morning we recite this poem, "When I Look into the Mirror." This poem held a different meaning for me. It was deep-rooted, and then I felt connected to the poem. As an insecure child, I felt that poem was personally reaching for me, and I needed to take space in the world. And I am glad I did. To my younger self, be you, do you, and make sure you contribute your quota in every person's life. I hope you do realize that in our societies, we were raised with shackles that felt like identities, and in order to break these shackles, we actually have to be empowered. We need to be strong and firm in our decisions and in our beliefs, and that is women empowerment. I hope we take up a space in the world and realize that we really matter.
Watching the experiences of our girls over time has been one of the most rewarding and honorable moments for me. This organization started as a dream 11 years ago, as an action commitment to be the change and to create more. And every step along the way, of course, doubt would creep in. Of course, I would wonder, can I do this and my real job at the same time? Do I have people who believe in this vision and in this work? And when I look back over these 11 years and I look at the stories of the young women who have been impacted by this work, I am in awe. I'm grateful for my tribe. I'm grateful for the women who came on this call today and continue to pour into us, because we're all on our space in this journey. And as I talk to you guys today, I really want to focus in on what is this call to action. So we've heard a lot today. We've heard from incredible leaders. We've talked about dreams, and we've talked about social justice and self-care, and we focused in on celebrating their stories. So what does that mean for you? How can you act, and what can you do right now? Well, we want you to make an impact. We know that we are all collectively here as Black women across the United States, across the world. We're in it to win. especially in a movement, in a moment right now where attention is focused on the lives of Black people, our lived experiences. And while some around the world are just becoming alert to the challenges of systemic racism that have plagued our nation, our world for generations, we know that there is so much power in our voice, power in our stories, power in our experiences, and in our work that can push towards social change. So when we're in it to win, we first want to walk in our purpose. I promise Nicole and I did not share speaking points, but we were aligned in that. It is so important that, as we focus in on your passion and your purpose and you finding your unique story on your own journey, that you walk in your purpose. I think about the many job opportunities that I've had in my career and times where I have tried to fit into the box that other people wanted me to fit in. But one thing that has not changed and that is constant is that I am deeply committed to being an advocate for the lives of Black girls and women, to promote education and exposure and to break ceilings, to transform in your own lives as leaders. That has not changed. If I had said no, if I had chose to do something else, if I had chose to not lean in, we wouldn't be here today. And so I want for you to think about, as you're walking in your purpose, what that tangibly looks like for you, continuing to plug into activities and sessions like this. Organizations like Women Empowering Nations exist to get you exposure to mentors and to women in leadership that can be a mirror to your own experiences. We even heard today talking about, as you have your big dreams, journaling, write about it. I remember years and years ago when I was in college, I wrote down on a napkin the quote. I heard the president of Liberia speak at my college, the University of Oklahoma, and I wrote down the exact quote: if you educate a man, you educate a family and a village. If you educate a woman, you empower a nation. Underneath that quote on the napkin, I wrote Women Empowering Nations. And it was a dream that manifested for me writing the vision. Be sure that you not only plug into opportunities for exposure, but that you write your vision. And even as you begin to get an idea of what it is you want to do or think about entering into spaces, I encourage you to stay open. I have done internships in many fields, and sometimes the internship can tell you exactly what you don't want to do, right? So I have learned with trial and error, but remained open to pursuing pathways and to gaining the exposure that was necessary to put me on a path to identify and to walk in my purpose. My second point is to elevate your voice. There is so much power in the voice of you right now, in this moment, in this movement for social change. Elevating your voice looks like using your platform. So whether that be social media, what are you sharing? What are you posting? Especially in these times right now, how are you elevating your voice? I think about Binta, who we just saw in the video, and her work in human rights and education and inclusion. She's always using her platform to tell stories, to elevate the lived experiences, to push for change. How are you using yours? Also, elevating your voice means voting. If you are above the age or 18 and above, and you're in the United States and you're not registered to vote, please do that today. Your vote, your voice matters. What does it look like in elevating your voice to mobilize and to get other individuals in your community, teenagers and young adults, register to vote, engage in our civic engagement process, right? There's so much opportunity that we don't want to leave on the table because we're not exercising our right to vote that our ancestors fought, died, and bled for. Elevate your voice, elevate your voice. And my last point is, some of the girls, when we were going through these conversations, really asked about what does it mean for me to elevate my voice, but also to take care of myself, right? Like I want to lead, but I also want to practice self-care. My end is to nourish your soul, guys. I will tell you time and time again that we can't pour from an empty cup. I have been on my own personal journey as a leader and thinking about this concept of Black women, of always having to be the strong Black woman, to where you'll take everything on. It's hard to say no because you don't want people to think that you're weak. But you know, what I have grown to realize is that strength isn't always the fact that you can take it on and not endure the pain. At times, strength looks like vulnerability. Being able to say, this is what I'm going through, this is what I'm dealing with, and yet I will still push through. I will ask for help. I will get a team together, and I will be well and take care of myself so that I can give to my community in a full space. And so as we talk today, you are all so ambitious and dreamers and doers and wanting to create more. We also have to acknowledge that first and foremost, you have to take care of you. As I've grown from being, a traveler and a dream chaser, I've been a teacher, I've been a superintendent, I serve on boards, and now I'm a mother of a 1-year-old. And so I had to learn really quickly about that book that Mandela mentioned, Essentialism, powerful book that made me really think about what really matters in the midst of this life that we have to live. And the days of our lives, we do not know what the future holds. Are you in it to win? Are you walking in your purpose? Are you elevating your voice? And are you nourishing your soul? Because only when we're able to do those things can we truly be the change that we want to see in the world. And so it would not be right of me, the teacher in me would not leave you today without some resources and some tools and some next steps to support you on your journey. So what we have for you, if you go on over to the Women Empowering Nations website that you went to when you registered, wenations.org, there is a link at the top of the homepage that asks if you would like to join the Women Empowering Nations network. In the network, you'll get access to resources. We'll be doing some mentor master classes for you guys. We'll talk about travel seminar opportunities that we have coming up in the future. And in addition to that, you'll get the recording link from this event today, as well as the opportunity to provide us with some feedback on the summit. So you can access that at wenations.org, clicking right there at the top of the homepage that allows for you to fill out a form and give your contact information to join our network. We want to continue to pour into you so that you can go out and be the change in your community. So next up, we've got a very special guest who will be sharing with you on beauty, business, and insight for the next generation. We're calling this our Cantu Beauty Break. So I'm going to turn it on over to a quick video, and then we will hear from Ashley and Melissa.
I'm so excited to host our Beauty Break with Melissa Chanel. She is the founder and voice of melissachanel.com, a one-stop shop for all things beauty, travel, style, and kicks for her fellow girls next door. With creative content and eye-catching visuals, Melissa has dedicated her website to providing daily inspiration, sparking thought-provoking discussions, and empowering women and girls to live their best lives while loving the skin they're in. Welcome, Melissa.
Hello, how are you?
I'm great. How you doing today?
I'm good.
Well, thank you for being here. I hope you've been able to be a part of this super inspiring morning so far.
Yes, it's been like a very awesome conversation, very inspiring. Love it so much. You guys are doing amazing things, and I'm so excited to be a part of it.
Thank you, and thank you to the girls from all over the world. I'm looking at the comments who are active and engaged with us through this final hour. So let's get into the questions.
Yeah.
So, of course, I have natural hair. I went natural kind of way back in the day because I was just tired of dealing with my hair. But when I went natural, we didn't have like YouTube videos. But for our girls with natural hair, what are your top 3 picks from the Cantu line?
Ooh, this is a hard one. Okay, so I'm obsessed with the coconut curling cream. That's like my favorite for twist outs, braid outs, any sort of styling you're doing. I also love the curl activator cream. I know a lot of naturals tend to do the whole wash and go in the summertime. So that curl activator cream is amazing. And you guys just saw a video from our new avocado collection. So I'm obsessed with the gel, the avocado gel. I've been rocking twists lately, thinking about growing locks. So this style with the gel has been amazing. So right now, those are my top 3. I tend to change it out a bit, but those are my top 3 right now.
Good. No, I love the commercial that was shown because it made it look like, you can get your hair done in a couple of minutes. So I'm definitely going to be looking for those products for my nieces.
Yes.
So you use your platform to follow your dreams and do what you love as a lifestyle content creator. And I know there are many young up and coming professionals that assume that being an influencer and an inspirational leader on the web is easy, that you can build a following overnight. I know that it takes some time and some due diligence. What are kind of some of your best practices around building a loyal and consistent following online?
Yeah, so like you said, it's not easy. I've been blogging for almost 10 years. So you definitely have to be consistent, share, and you also want to be very authentic. Be yourself. I know you see tons of bloggers, tons of influencers now, and you may connect to some of them and want to do something similar, but through it all, continue to be yourself because no one is going to tell a story like you tell it. So being consistent, sharing your content, and also communicating with your community, letting them know that you're here, you're like a big sister, a friend, that they can come to as a resource.
I love it. And when I was scrolling through the Instagram feed, and what I love about what you represent and what Black women on the web represent in general is that it represents that beauty comes in a variety of ways.
Yes.
When we were growing up, we had magazines that kind of dictated what the standard of beauty was, or TV, and social media allows girls to follow, girls that are aligned with their vision of beauty or their standard. And so thank you for doing that and showing girls that beauty is defined by how you see it. So with that said, my last question, what is the advice that you would give to the next generation of women leaders, and kind of expand on that and share what you would tell your younger self?
To follow your dreams. Like I've been hearing a lot of kind of, just do it. If you're thinking about something and you keep pushing it to the back of your mind or you're afraid, I would just tell my younger self to take the leap, even take the leap earlier. I know I became a blogger kind of by mistake, I would say. It wasn't what I intended to do, but after college, I couldn't really find a job in my career path. I wanted a creative outlet, and it was just something that came about. And I was like, maybe I can create the life I want for myself. And that's what I was able to do. So I would just say, take the leap, don't second guess yourself, and always remember, only you can tell your story. Only you can tell a story that like yourself. No one else can tell your story. So continue to push yourself, continue to crush your goals, and just do it. Don't second guess yourself at all.
Thank you so much, Melissa. Be sure to follow her on Instagram, you all, for fabulous fashion and beauty tips. I will now turn it back over to Carlisha to close out the day with scholarship announcements and giveaways. Thank you all so much. It's been such a joy and a pleasure to spend my morning with you.
Thank you, Ashley and Melissa. I am honored to close out our day. Today went by so fast, you guys. So many things are going through my mind, going through my heart. I'm just grateful. I'm also really grateful for our event sponsors who made today possible. Thank you so much to Cantu, to Microsoft, Run Studios, the Bradley Family Foundation, Mercedes Harris, and Medley Inc. for making this event possible. I told you guys this morning that I worked with a dream team to put this event together, and that included Ashley Small, Jasmine Toby, Don Brown, Valine Samuels, Mercedes Harris, and Jason Lemon. And so thank you again to all who made today possible. Now let me get to the fun part of announcing the prize packages that we've got here. So first of all, we took the young ladies, we have a lot of scholarship applications, so many scholarship applications, which was beautiful and wonderful, that we took a random drawing of those who applied for a scholarship to choose 6 winners of beauty boxes from Cantu. Several of the products that have been featured today will be included in that box, but it will be mailed to some lucky winners. And the winners are... We have Kyla in Jacksonville, Florida, Ivana in Houston, Texas, Jalen in Louisiana, Summer in New York, Bertie in California, and Janaya in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Congratulations, ladies, and we look forward to getting you your beauty boxes soon. So our next award is for another piece of our prize package that was donated by Cantu. It is 2 MacBook Air laptops. We chose young women who had applied for the scholarships as well and selected 2 winners of a MacBook Air, and those winners are Jada Ballard from Houston, Texas, and Mariama Ba from Middleton, Delaware. I did want to share a couple of excerpts from scholarship essays, and the question was asked, what is one of the greatest challenges that Black women face, and how will they use their education to conquer that? And Mariama said, through my college education in international affairs and business, I plan to absorb enough knowledge of the corporation system in order to counterattack the control that most beauty corporations have over my country. I want to switch the narrative from achieving standards of whiteness to embracing and emphasizing the beauty of Blackness. Thank you so much, and congratulations again to Jada and Mariama. So next up is our international scholarship recipients. We had so many applications. It was wonderful to read all of the various ways that you all are actively wanting to be the change in your community. We had judges from all over the country actually come together as a team to evaluate applications, and we are proud to announce the winners, and they are Falade from Nigeria, Naya Chama from Kenya, and Thea from Tanzania. One of the excerpts from the essay, Falade said, I want to use my education to fight for talented women out there who are not being allowed to showcase their gift just because they are female. I would love to be the voice of the voiceless women. I strongly believe that if hands are being put on deck to counter gender inequality, we will surely overcome. The women will gain their grounds in Nigeria and in the world as a whole. Congratulations to all of you ladies. We are so proud of you and look forward to seeing your pursuit of your higher education. All right, guys, I'm off to our final category of scholarship announcements, and those were our domestic scholarships. Again, plethora of applications, so much talent and leadership in our community. I am proud of each and every one of you who applied. I'm ready to announce our winners. Micah Clay in Pearland, Texas, Kyla Hall in Jacksonville, Florida, Christina Pierce of Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Deja Jarrett of Little Rock, Arkansas. Another excerpt from the essay of Micah Clay. It is, I find it imperative that we do everything in our power to represent Black women as the superhumans that they are. I plan to utilize my education and leadership to aid this effort of granting Black women the representation they deserve. I plan to use my degree and internship connections to change the narrative on a larger scale. To some, movies might seem to be a menial arena to start this feat. However, it is these movies that will serve as records for future generations when they are long gone. It is my job to ensure that these records are as accurate as possible. Thank you, Micah. And guys, I actually have an exciting announcement that just came in. So today is truly about reaching girls and women around the globe. And I am in awe of the fact that we're about to make this announcement. The actress and activist, star of the show Grownish and Blackish, Yara Shahidi, is so inspired by the work of Women Empowering Nations and the education. And education has been so important to Yara, her brothers, Saeed, and Isan, that they want to support their peers at the summit, and they're providing 4 additional $1,100 scholarships. So we'll have some more scholarship announcements coming soon. Please, please, please be sure to sign up and to connect with Women Empowering Nations, because we are not going to stop the momentum that has started today. I want for you to make sure that you connect with us. We have our social media handles that will come up on the screen, as well as our web address, wenations.org. We are elated for the scholarship recipients from today and look forward to awarding 4 more scholarships, and looking forward to reaching out to those who have already applied about this next step and this other opportunity that is now available to us. Again, guys, I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. You all matter. Your voices matter. When we elevate and when we're in it to win, when we're walking in our purpose, elevating our voices, nourishing our souls, we are unstoppable. I love